G'day guys, welcome to episode 130 of Ask Jack D. Today we take a question from Ash, who asks, is it smart for the founder to become the face of the business, or should that be a strategy that we warn against? Here is my answer and the 3 reasons and rationale why it is an effective strategy, particularly for early and growth stage businesses. Not only that, but Rosie becomes a director.
28 and I'm trying to shape history, pulling from the sky for some strength to take with me. Line up the stars, fly away quickly and push the world forward like a tidal wave hit me. I ride the wave swiftly, I fear no man. Check my titles, mate, quickly.
G'day guys, welcome to episode 130 of Ask Jack D. Today we are taking a question from Rosie, who's got a question from
Ash Mackay.
Ash Mackay. She's going to use her outside voice.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Mate, loving the snaps. Would love to know if it's better for the founder of a startup to make themselves the face of the business, like a Branson, or have the business running without a known front man.
Yeah, is it better for a founder to be the face of the business or have the business running without a known front man? Okay, cool. Really good question, Ash. The considerations are this, right? People connect more with a person than they do with a business. So they connect more with a human being than they do with the brand of a business. Hence why Branson has been so successful in his personal branding and the brand equity that has brought to the Virgin Group. Like, I started flying Virgin when I started flying, which would have been, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, because it was owned by Richard, because that was the sort of affinity I had built with the brand of Richard Branson as opposed to the brand of Virgin. I didn't even check out what Qantas were like or what Jetstar were like or what whoever else was like. I just flew Virgin because I knew I liked Richard. So people connect more with people than they do with brands. Yes, I think it is a very smart, particularly in the early days, to use yourself to front the business. Now, there's a very big distinction here, and the distinction is this. You don't want to become the business, but it is okay to be the face or to front the business. So become the business is where you are a consultant and you're the guy or you're the woman. Becoming the business is like a Tony Robbins. Like, if you're not on stage, the engines aren't, the wheels aren't spinning, the engine isn't on. That's becoming the business. That's not a great business model, because then it is completely dependent and reliant on you. We're not building any value in that business. We won't be able to sell it if and when one day we might want to. There's just a limit to it, because there's a cap on where you can be and what you can do and what you can say and all of the different things you can do in a 24-hour period, right? Whereas if you can create a business like a proper business that runs without you, with management and staff, and they're great at it and they do the day-to-day, week-to-week stuff better than you ever could, and you're working on the business. So you're working on the high-level projects, you're working on the direction, you're working on the vision, and you're working on facing the brand, particularly in the early days when the business brand won't be a brand in and of itself, because we're not yet an Amex, or we're not yet a Clio, or we're not yet a Sony or an Apple. Having a human being face it gives you that wedge and almost gives you a competitive advantage against some of the bigger businesses that don't have that founder-facing type thing, right? So you don't want the business to be founder entrenched. You want the business to be founder inspired, and you want the business to be founder branded. Now, the question then inevitably comes, well, Jack, what about then in 8 to 10 years if I want to sell the business? And not everybody does want to sell a business, but for those that do, what happens then if you are the face of the brand of the business? That's really easy. What you would do is you'd go in year, let's say you want to sell in year 8. In year 6, you'd sit around a table and you go, okay, we're going to exit this business in 2 years' time, which means you have a 2-year runway to transition the branding and the marketing away from your face, if that's something that's going to discontinue after you sell the business, and into either having several other people face the brand that are going to be around for a long time, or celebrity endorsements, whatever it might be. Or the brand is now such, it's 6 years old, you've helped build it using your face, it's now such that it can stand on its own 2 feet, and so the brand is going to stand on its own 2 feet. We're going to dilute your sort of face out of the branding and the marketing of it so that it stands on its own 2 feet, and then there's no sort of key person dependence when it comes time to ultimately sell that business, right? So yes, it is incredibly powerful because people connect more with people than they do with brands. Yes, you should do it early on because it will give you a competitive advantage against the bigger businesses. And yes, it doesn't matter if one day you want to sell the business. Give yourself a year, 2 years run up in the lead up to selling the business where you can dilute yourself out, build the brand to stand on its own 2 feet, and you've still got a saleable asset just the same as you would if you never used you in the first place. Only difference is you've probably got a better relationship. The business has probably got a better relationship with the audience because the business has had a personal feel up until that point. So we don't want to become the entirety of the business, but yes, it is incredibly intelligent, particularly in 2016 and beyond, right? Incredibly intelligent and incredibly effective for you to face it. Really good question, Ash. I look forward to speaking with you guys tomorrow.